Are you thinking about getting married in Sayulita? You're thinking, gosh, I don't want to do a big wedding. I'm ready to just commit to not having that traditional wedding. And I'm looking at Mexico, and Sayulita's on your list. Today, I am interviewing Andrea, who is a wedding planner in Sayulita. So I'm going to interview her so that you can get to know her a bit. And with that being said, I put together an intro that I want to share so that you can kind of get a brief overview of kind of who she is and her business. Andrea runs Sayulita Dream Weddings. She is a wedding planner based in Mexico with over 16 years of experience planning and producing weddings in the bohemian paradise of Sayulita. Sayulita Dreams Weddings crafts uniquely individual, fabulous, and fun events of a lifetime that will have your guests proclaiming best wedding ever at the end of the night. She is fiercely devoted to her clients and takes very seriously the trust they place in her to oversee and execute the most momentous events of their life stories. In addition to wedding planning, Andrea has many passions, including playing music, teaching and practicing yoga, traveling and cooking, and spending time with her family and furry four-legged friends. So without further ado, that is Andrea. And talk to me about wedding planning. How did you even get connected to Sayulita?
Well, first, nice to meet you, Craig. Thanks for inviting me on. How we got connected with Sayulita is my boyfriend at the time. We lived in San Francisco, and he's now my husband. We came here on vacation in 2002. Really looking for an off-the-beaten-path place, and a friend of ours that traveled, his boss had been here, Phil Tippett, the maker of Starship Troopers, if you know that movie. So he had been here, and we came down to Sayulita and just fell in love with it. We rented a villa and just hung out by the pool and on the beach, and it was really sleepy, beautiful, quiet town. There was a few restaurants, no shops here. The beaches were deserted. It was July, so the beginning of rainy season, a little stormy. We had this idea of moving to a place like Mexico or Costa Rica because my husband Gabby had gone to Costa Rica and met people there that just went and on vacation and never left, and were way happier attending bar on the beach than being lawyers and doctors. And so at that time we worked animated film and video game industry in the peninsula of California, or of the Bay Area. So like Palo Alto and Redwood Shores, and we were just working a lot and sort of climbing up the ladder. And, you know, while we loved the work, we saw everybody that was above us in their positions very unhappy and getting divorced and having their kids in daycare all day long. And so we didn't want to do that. And we decided that we would try something else. We sort of put together a little bit of a 5-year plan, wanting to move, and we loved Sayulita. And then we ended up getting engaged and getting married here ourselves, and brought just like 25 people with us. It was really small and intimate. We hired a wedding planner, and we knew that we worked with Via Amor because there weren't any independent wedding planners then. It was 2004, 19 years ago in May. And so we knew there was a need for wedding planning here. And then after our wedding, we put together like a 2-year plan, and we were back here within like 22 months, I guess, living full time and never looked back. And then we started up the wedding business. We got here, sort of floated the idea to a few people that we had met, like, we're thinking about doing this. And like, absolutely. At that time, there were 3 or 4 wedding planners working in the area. But sort of the feedback we got was like, there's some people doing it, but there's a real opportunity for somebody to do it really well. And that's where we came in and really brought like our high level of customer service and production management and people management skills to the table, and started the business. I feel like I've seen the wedding industry sort of here in this area really grow up with our company, because it was pretty small then. I mean, there were people coming here to do destination weddings, but Sayulita was pretty unknown. Most people that came as wedding guests had never heard of it. Of course, you know, all the weddings that happened, I feel like exponentially like helped to grow the popularity of the town, because, you know, people come and then they're hearing about it, they're going and telling their friends how great it is. But we used to, you know, have just a very small group of vendors to work with, a very limited selection of furniture to rent, and sort of like not very many photographers or hair and makeup artists. So just to see the industry have boomed over the last 16 years is pretty incredible. And the amount of things that we can source and just what's happened in the wedding industry in general, I think is everywhere, is pretty crazy and awesome. We're really experiencing a renaissance in that, and people are really doing some amazing things. So it's been nice to sort of feel my business kind of grow with that growth in the area. You know, I can't say that I would want to be a wedding planner elsewhere in the world, maybe elsewhere in Mexico, although I'm not planning on going anywhere. But I don't know if I'd want to do it in the U.S. I feel like, you know, Sayulita itself sort of attracts a certain type of person, a certain type of tourist, and a certain type of bride and groom that are really wanting to have a unique, authentic, sort of fun, a little bit more casual, non-traditional experience. You know, what I love about this town in particular, and I have done some weddings over in Punta Mita and Puerto Vallarta and San Pancho, and they're all lovely. There's some amazing venues. I'm obviously biased to say that I've lived here full time for, 17 years this month. And it just, like, there's something for everyone. I mean, it's maybe not everyone, but most of the people that come here, even, grandma or, the aunts and uncles that wouldn't travel to this kind of authentic town in Mexico, they get here and they're within the container of this group experience, and everybody's having fun, and our town's small enough that you sort of run into people on the street that are in your group and then meet other wedding groups, and so it just has a real feeling of joy and fun and vibrancy. There's great restaurants, there's great shops, there's great street food and fine dining and bars and nightlife, and people have a blast, and there's a really swimmable beach. People take surf lessons, and they just get to be here and relax. I feel like at a wedding in your hometown, you would sort of be maybe stressed out until like the event and maybe all the way through it. But when you're on vacation, people just show up, and, we really make it so that our clients can just be here and chill and relax, and we do all the work for them. And that's really nice to see everybody in such a joyous space together.
Random question from the first comment. Have any of your couples that you worked with ever moved to Sayulita? Have you seen that happen?
Bride and groom from 2014. I always remember their date because it was 12, 13, 14, which is a pretty cool date. And their family just bought, I don't think they're living here full time, but their family just bought one of our wedding venues in town, Via Valentin. So that's pretty cool connection. And we're stoked to have them here and hopefully get to see them. Everybody comes back, not everybody, but most people come back and visit. And so we get to say hi. There was another couple that got married here and then came down and started a different wedding company. And since then they've moved back to Texas. So that sort of, they weren't my clients, but it does happen. And then we've had some local people that were living here and sort of planned their own weddings and then started wedding planning businesses. And what's really great in our community is that I feel like we're all so supportive of each other and we help each other out, and there's not a feeling of competitiveness. And that's been something that I've loved about Mexico since we first got here. When we arrived, one of the only people we knew was our wedding planner. And, we hung out with her when we got to town, and we told her that we were thinking about starting a wedding planning business, and she helped me get started. And she gave me contacts and let me work with her. And so, like, that to me was like, oh, wow, you would have expected, like, you're going to take my business. And it wasn't like that. And so it taught me a really nice lesson that there's not this scarcity mentality that we're sort of used to. There's an abundance here, and that there's, fortunately, work for everyone. I feel like at least most of my colleagues, I feel like we have enough work. We have as much work as we want. And many of us also came to this life and this place to not work as hard as we were working, to, have a little bit more work-life balance. So, I take about like eight wedding engagements per season, and the season is from November to May, sometimes like October or June. So that keeps me pretty busy, and then also gives me enough time to plan other weddings in between production, and just have a life with my family. And I'll also teach yoga and play music and all those things that I love to do. And yeah.
Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you're planning that wedding and you're looking for a wedding planner, which I completely recommend, now you have a personal connection to Andrea. She is an amazing planner down there. You can go check out her work to see the beautiful weddings that she's put on. If you're curious to find out more about her, no matter where you're watching this, you can look down below for a link to her work. And if you're looking for a wedding videographer for Sayulita, my name's Craig, and I would love to chat with you as well. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching this, and be sure to watch the next video I'm doing with her about tips for planning your wedding in Sayulita. Thanks so much, Andrea.